evening and welcome. I'm Vincent Makori. This is Africa 54. Now, tensions are high in the Middle East following Saudi Arabia's most recent mass execution, the largest in 30 years, which has sparked international condemnation. Mass protests against the ruling Saudi family are taking place in many Muslim countries after the execution of 47 people, including a popular Shia cleric. Human rights groups have long warned that Islamic courts in Saudi Arabia hand out death sentences even for non-violent crimes and that trials are secretive and unfair. Viewers, Zlatica Hoke has our report.
Protesters carried images of Sheikh Nimr al-Nimr, a prominent critic of the Saudi royal family, who was convicted of inciting unrest. The popular Shia cleric called for free elections and was arrested during a 2012 protest. His death angered large Shia populations in Iran and Iraq.
Every son and every thinker of the Iraqi people condemned the decision to put Sheikh Nimr on the terrorist list.
The leader of Lebanese Shiite militant group Hezbollah, Hassan Nasrallah, slammed Saudi Arabia in a televised speech on Sunday, while the audience shouted death to the House of Saud.
The execution of Sheikh Nimr al-Nimr asserts to the Arab and Muslim world a Saudi message by blood, by sword, and by beheading that the Saudi regime is not concerned with the Islamic world, the other Muslim sects, or Muslim and international public opinion, and does not care about the friends who send messages asking and begging. It is a regime that does not care for the feelings of hundreds of millions of Muslims in the world who are harmed by such act.
Saudi Arabia's Muslims are mostly Sunnis, and the country's law is based on Sharia. Shia Muslim leaders are calling for a strong international condemnation of the Saudi leaders.
We call on the United Nations and human rights organizations all over the world to stand strongly against the tyranny of the House of Saud and the criminal murder of Sheikh Nimr Bakr al-Nimr. If the world doesn't speak out now, then when?
The Desert Kingdom is home to Islam's holiest sites, Mecca and Medina, which are under the king's control, a situation that many Muslims worldwide resent.
Today, on the martyrdom of al-Nimr, we are out in full force to protest and demand that Saudi Arabia hand over the holy places to all Muslim nations jointly, as they are not qualified to be the custodian of holy places, so that all Muslim countries take control of holy places in their hands jointly.
Most of those put to death were alleged Sunni militants, and most of them were Saudi citizens. Zlatica Hoke, VOA News, Washington.
Well, Saudi Arabia has severed diplomatic ties with Iran less than a day after demonstrations in Tehran stormed the Saudi embassy to protest the Saudi execution of the prominent Shia cleric. Saudi Foreign Minister Adel Al-Jubeir announced the move late Sunday, saying that all Iranian diplomats must leave the country within 48 hours. Angry Iranian protesters on Saturday stormed the Saudi embassy in Tehran and a consulate in Mashhad, smashing furniture and setting fires at the embassy before being ejected by police.
These
ongoing attacks against diplomatic buildings are a blatant violation of all international agreements. These attacks come after aggressive statements by the Iranian regime that represented a clear call and encouraged the attacks against the kingdom's representatives.
The move caps a rapidly worsening diplomatic crisis that erupted Saturday, shortly after Saudi officials announced the execution of Sheikh Nimr al-Nimr, a prominent Shia critic of Saudi Arabia's ruling royal family. 46 others were also executed in the kingdom, triggering international outrage and warnings of grave repercussions for the Saudi royal family. Hundreds of Iranians protested Sunday in the Iranian capital Tehran, chanting death to Al Saud royal family as well as the United States and Israel that they accused of supporting the kingdom despite its actions.
God has promised to get revenge over spilled blood of the innocent. When time passes, the House of Saud would certainly understand that his blood will catch up with those who executed him.
Earlier Sunday, Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei warned that Saudi Arabia will face divine vengeance for its execution of Nimr. Protests also erupted in Bahrain, where police used tear gas on the crowds. Demonstrations also took place in India, as well as the Saudi embassy in London. Iran and Saudi Arabia have been vying for leadership in the Muslim world since Iran's 1977 revolution, which elevated to power hardline Shia clerics. The U.S. war in Iraq further inflamed religious and ethnic tensions by leading to a Shia-led government in Baghdad and a crucial shift in the sectarian balance of power in the region.